I just want to do God's will.
The kind of revolution that the world needs is a Christian revolution.
If you want a miracle, you've got to expect it to happen.
You are the recipients of God's grace and God's blessings, and you rejoice in that reality.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Live Today Live. I'm Jordan Murphy, and it is a pleasure to be in the studios with you guys. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but growing up, I frequently heard the phrase, mostly from my siblings, but sometimes from my parents, I love you, but I really don't like you right now. And I've caught myself saying that as well. And, I'm excited because today we get to learn how we can love our lives even when we don't like it all the time. That's such a real and raw thing. And sometimes we don't realize that that is actually a choice. And our author for today, Rachel Awtrey, is going to tell us all about that. So Rachel, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Jordan. This is so fun.
Yes, I'm so excited. And, I see here that you are a military wife and you've moved 9 times in 8 years and you have 2 boys. So that is a lot right there. I'm sure there's been times where you're like, I really don't like this right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was that moving season for sure. I was like, if I have to touch cardboard one more time, I am unwell.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you're going through that, also as a mother, I can't imagine as a wife, that's really difficult, but also as a mother, kind of like being in charge of 2 little humans. Was this kind of how this book was birthed, out of those kinds of seasons, or where did this start for you?
Totally. It was totally birthed out of a place of being in a season that I didn't feel like I signed up for. Well, I did sign up for, but I didn't really know how to have expectations around it. And so a lot of expectations were falling through the cracks. And I got to a point where I was like, I remember there being other seasons in my life, right, that I didn't really love, that I got through and survived. And I was like, whew, glad we're over. And I look hindsight to them and I'm like, man, I feel like there was something for me there. And so the question then became not a like, hey, what was there to love in that season? It became there must be then something to love in this one too. And I don't want to miss it and wait until I'm on the other side to have the hindsight to see it. Lord, would you show me where it is right now so I could live abundantly right here? And he did. He started doing a working in my heart. And I'm like, oh, I live that life now, and I want other people to live that life too, to know that it's so possible.
Yeah. And I think in the middle of the moment, it's so hard to just humble yourself and say that prayer. A lot of people don't have any hope, or they don't even realize that joy can be a choice. Like, what did the Lord reveal that joy is to you?
Yes, I think for the longest time, I thought joy was more of a personality trait and emotion.
Yeah.
Like something that we had or we didn't. It was like we either are bent towards joy or we're not. We're either the optimist or the pessimist. And that's just so not true. Joy is available to all of us, no matter what. There's nothing that qualifies you or disqualifies you from experiencing what joy is, other than just saying yes and walking with Jesus. We're told it's a fruit of the Spirit. It's like when we abide, we will see the product and the produce of the fruit. And I want that for all of us. I also know, and this is what I've learned, just as much as joy is a fruit and a gift, it's a skill. It means we have to get good at it. It's not just going to like happen and appear one day or on the other side or when you get through it. It's right here. It's right now. It's also up to us.
How do we practice that? And what are some of the things that you see that really threatens to steal our joy, or maybe even stole some of your joy yourself?
Yeah, I have a whole chapter in my new book about what gets in the way of our joy, like what jacks your joy.
Ooh, I
like
love
what
that.
is it that is a stumbling block, an obstacle to experiencing it. And I think we don't want to take the time to pause and to take inventory over things we don't like, because in my mind, I'm like, that's a little bit counterintuitive, right, Rachel?
Right.
Like you're wanting me to find what I love. So why am I focusing on the things I don't? And my thing would be, I want to move them out of the way. And you first have to see them to move them. So I would just want to ask people to get like honest. What is it about your life that is making it really hard to enjoy it? Name it. And first and foremost, it will not catch God off guard. It's not going to be a surprise or a shock. I think he's just waiting for us to get for real and intimate with him.
Yeah.
And then, I like to think of this as like, name your favorite professional athlete. They did not become pro because they got the equipment for Christmas. They became pro because they actually got good at it. They did drills. They had friends that helped them stay disciplined. Rain or shine, they were out there. And that's for us too. Like, what is it going to look like for us to run the drills, to do the hard work, to get good at this gift?
Yeah, they're willing to put in the time and be disciplined.
Yeah.
Man, I've been seeing how important discipline is in every aspect of our lives. And I love that you talk about getting real and getting intimate. And something that I find so interesting is a lot of times we say, like, in relationships with other people, in order to have true intimacy, we must have honesty. But a lot of times we don't see that as a relationship with ourselves. And so, you know, when you're thinking through this and you're like, man, I really need to get honest with myself. I really need to like sit down and have this conversation. And you say, name it. And then we move it. How do we move those things out of our lives? Once we name it, what is that next step?
I want to say here, there are things that you can move, and there will be other unfortunate things that you can't. I have things a part of my life that I totally wish were different, that are absolutely just there to stay. There's nothing I can do to change it. And for you, it might be a diagnosis or grief or a loss. I will tell you this, though, that when you start actually moving around the things and naming the things that you can control, you can't change your life, but you can change your mind. So your mind being one of them.
Yeah.
You'll see, though, that everything else kind of starts to dull. And like, turn your eyes upon Jesus, my favorite hymn says, like, the things of earth will grow strangely dim. Like the things that are broken this side of heaven that you can't change, the hard diagnosis, the loss, the things we named, they kind of just become a little bit less heavy, not because they've lost the weight, but because we grow the resilience, because we've done the work to move the small things. So for me, I like to name it, whether that's, for me, I'm like, oh, motherhood is so hard for me. What am I doing wrong? Right? Well, maybe motherhood's not hard. Maybe I've just been in my house for too many days in a row. Okay, well then why have I been in my house for too many days? Okay, because it's really hard to get out with two littles in tow. Okay, well, why is it hard to get out with two littles in tow? And you start doing the spiral. And for me, it came down to like, oh, well, I hate having to go up and down the stairs to grab socks and shoes and whatnot. So maybe I'll just keep it by the front door.
Yeah.
And it's so wild how this idea of motherhood is so hard. That's a really heavy thought to carry with you always.
Yeah.
When really it just dwindled down to like where I keep the hair gel and the socks and shoes. Like, that's so silly. So I also don't want to give things too much credit than they're due in our lives.
Yes.
If we all go on that treasure hunt to find the root, then we'd be so shocked with how easy it is to actually start moving the obstacles out of our way to pursue joy.
Wow. That's so powerful. And I love how you're talking about you got to dwindle it down and get to the root of the situation. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's never what we think it is. And then you're able to like make that choice and make that switch and make that change. And then, wow, these things that were really pulling you back, you're now able to launch forward just by making a simple shift. And, you know, you have big things like that, right? But then there's also sometimes like just the day-to-day mundane that just seems like you're just kind of getting in this cycle, right? But like, do we have to stay there? Is there a way to have joy even then? What should we be doing to really be grateful for the time that God is giving us in the day-to-day, even when we don't feel like it?
Yeah. Well, we're told in scripture that God inhabits the praise of his people, right?
Amen.
So if you're like, oh, this feels so mundane, God must not be here. I'm like, well, actually, contrary. One, he is, and we know this to be true. And 2, like, have you praised him? Because that's when we're really going to start to feel that zeal and joy for life. My other one is like, I mean, Lisa Turker says this, but you steer where you stare. So if you're staring at something, it's probably all you're going to end up seeing.
Yeah.
Similar to like, you're going car shopping and you never knew that there was orange Subarus out there until you saw one. Now you see 20.
Yep.
And it's not
Isn't
because
that
more of them are being manufactured, but you're more attuned to see them.
Yeah.
Our mind is the same with our life, not just cars, but like our mind is going to see what we set it on. So I want to be attuned, top of mind. What is good? What is good here? Not negating that things are hard, but for the sake, because things are hard.
Yeah.
So focusing on those things is huge. So I'd say it's 2 steps. 1, noticing them, like we just talked about. And Psalm 68, verse 3 is huge and has shifted me recently. And then the Message version, it says, enjoy God, cheer when you see him. So I think it's 1, noticing where he is, and 2, cheering out loud. Make a list, tell someone, say it with your own mouth so your ears hear it. Like, make a joyful sound when you see where God is showing up. And brain science says our brain will truly begin to change.
Wow. That's incredibly powerful. I love that. And you talk about these rhythms being so important. What are some other rhythms that we can kind of incorporate into our homes, into our lives, into like the foundation of our families?
Yeah. Another one that is huge for me to touch on is just community. What happens when we start including other people more intimately into our lives? We're more known, we're more seen, we're more championed, we're more challenged. That is going to be like the shift between things being impossible to things just only being difficult. And whenever I included people in my life, the parts of my life I did not love, they actually were able to speak into, like, hey, maybe there's a chance this could be easier. Like, have you tried this? Or, hey, I'm noticing that you're saying this a lot. Is that actually something you believe? Or, hey, Rachel, I think this is a bigger deal than you're giving it credit for. Or, I think you're giving this too much credit. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it takes those outside voices to truly love on us. And the rhythm of community is also something that's going to be key when loving your life, even when you don't like it all the time.
Has that looked different in different seasons of your life? You know, being single, then dating, married, now having kids. How has that changed throughout your life?
Oh, yeah. Okay. One thing I wish I could have told myself a long time ago. Friendship is fluid. Like, I think I was served this idea, maybe from Hollywood, that everyone had those 4 core best friends and you made it through your whole life together. And then this expectation that I too would have these 4 core best friends and make it through life together became something I adopted. And then I was frustrated and disappointed when proximity, life, seasons, whatever, made us float a bit away from each other.
Yeah.
And you said this, I've moved 9 times in just our 9 years now of marriage. So yeah, I understand having to make a new friend in a different zip code very frequently. And I'm not an expert, but I feel like I have mastered it a bit to then be able to give myself some grace, give them compassion. Like, hey, we're going to move. Things are going to change. Someone's going to have a baby. Someone's going to get married. Our season will require more of us. But at the root of this, like, you're still a part of my life in a certain capacity. So I talk a lot about that in the book too, just the freedom and the permission for friendships to be fluid without any shame. It might not be because you did something, said something. It might not be because they did something or said something. It could just be there's friends for seasons, reasons, and then there are friends for a lifetime. But not all of them are all of the above all the time.
Right. Well, how do you navigate those changes, right? When somebody gets married or somebody has a baby, do you just accept it and just like go with the flow, or do you have conversations? Like, what is the way to go about that?
Totally. In my mind, I would say it's going to require some kind of discernment. I almost hate to give a formula because I'm like, it really is going to depend on your relationship, their character, yours too, personalities. There's so much at play here. At the root of it, though, I'd say clarity is kindness. So having some kind of closure maybe isn't what you're going to get, but an understanding of, hey, we're floating away and I'm going to allow that to happen. And you might touch base and love on them, but loving on them is going to look different from season to season.
Yeah.
So again, I feel weird putting an actual formula to it because at the end of the day, I think it is just discernment and asking the Lord, like, do I say something? Do I not?
Yeah.
But also trusting that he loves them more than you do. And he's taking care of a lot of things behind the scenes.
Wow. That's so powerful. And I love that answer because a lot of times we want the XYZ, this is how you do it. But in that, sometimes we don't include the Lord. And that is the silliest thing to do and the most human thing to do and the thing that we shouldn't do, you know? I love in the book you talk about the 4 types of friendships. Could you talk a little bit in depth about how those different types of friendships will bless us in each individual way?
Okay, Jordan, one thing you need to know about me is I am an analogy girl.
Oh, I love
Like,
this.
if I can't tell you how I feel about something, I'll find a way in my surroundings to describe it.
Yes, I love it.
And this is where this analogy came from of friendships. Or one day I was looking at the different kinds of friends and how they showed up for me. And I realized, ooh, this is a lot like my house. I have 4 different friends. I have front yard friends, living room friends, kitchen friends, and attic friends. So my front yard friends are going to be the friends, stick with me on this metaphor, where like we see each other outside, we say, hey, I'm familiar with their family, but they don't really know what the inside of my house looks like all the time unless I invite them in, which then they become a living room friend. When we invite people more intimately into our lives, they see your house, how you decorate, like, is it clean? Are there cobwebs in the corner? Like, are there these different parts of your life? They kind of get a little bit more intimately there with you, but you're really just hosting them. Maybe you're watching a football game or playing a board game. Like, you're not sharing a meal or something with them. But when you do start to share a meal, or they're drying your dishes while you're washing them, or you share bigger pieces of your life, they become kitchen friends where there's a little bit more help at play, where you help them, they help you, you share more responsibility. And then from there, kitchen friends have the opportunity to move up to attic friends, or attic friends. We all have that room in our house. If it's not your attic, it's somewhere else, where you kind of have just this space that feels a little chaotic, a little cluttered. You do need fresh eyes on it to give you some vision. Those are our attic friends. I am not inviting a friend I made for the first time the other day from a coffee date to help me organize my attic. That's mortifying. So like, it doesn't skip steps. There is a process and an understanding to, hey, not everyone deserves and needs to be drying the dishes in my kitchen with me, or else it would be so crowded, right?
Yeah.
I can fit a lot more people in my living room when we're all just hanging out playing a board game, and then more people can fit in my yard. So the more intimate it gets, the smaller the circle will be too, in order for the jobs to get done well.
Wow. Was that hard whenever you were navigating that in your own life, to be like, oh man, maybe somebody that I thought was an attic friend really probably needs to be in the living room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you ask the question like, is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with them? But then when you start thinking about just the way that God's made us all so uniquely, that there's a gift that she has that I don't, that she can probably aid me in a season for.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
I talk about the story in the Bible where there's the man that's paralyzed on a mat that gets taken to his friends, or taken to Jesus by his friends and lowered through a roof. And I think so many times we think of being the friend that carries someone because you're like, oh, I'm so helpful. I'm so resilient. I'm here to serve you. There's two parts to that story. Is one, yes, being the friend that helps. There's also the friend that gets on the mat and is willing to be helped by their people too. And I think when you step on the mat, it becomes way more clear. Clarity, or action breeds clarity. Like when you start asking people for help, you'll start kind of seeing how they start to shift and filter into different spaces. So that discernment is a lot less on you necessarily. And like I said, God is taking care of a lot of it behind the scenes because he knows how he's made us all uniquely.
That's powerful. That gets me excited because I think whenever I'm such a visual person too. And when I'm able to like make sense of things, and we keep kind of going back to the same things, like naming it, kind of dwindling down. And for me, that is so helpful. And maybe for somebody who's listening, that's helpful for you too, because it takes a little bit of time and it takes the effort to go there mentally and emotionally, right? But like once you do it, like you say, there's such clarity, and then you're able to move forward. And then there's this kind of peace and this lightness that goes with it. And so I absolutely love that you say that. And then I want to kind of continue on with this like friendship theme that we're having. And you talk about the difference between hospitality and entertainment. Can you speak a little bit about this? Maybe we can learn a couple of things about some of the friends in our lives.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So our friends that aren't familiar with me in context, I am in the southeast of the United States. I am a Southern girl. Okay. So I did not understand this differentiation between hospitality and entertainment for a long time, because I thought hospitality meant getting out the platters, doing the things like having on the music, lighting a candle. It wasn't until I was a little in over my head with life that I realized I think I'm waiting for things to be perfect to invite people in. On a day-to-day scale, for dinner on a Tuesday, like all over the board. And I remember this one time, there's a sweet college girl that goes to our church that asked if we could go on a coffee date or if she could come over. And my mind first went to, oh no, like I can't spend time with her because I'm not able to host her the way I wanted to. And I felt like the Holy Spirit gently was like, hey, she actually needs to be hosted in a very real, raw way if you're wanting to impact her through me the way that I know that you're wanting to impact her through me. It's not going to look like a cute coffee date. It's going to look like you inviting her over, her helping you with your mess, perhaps folding some laundry, and like she will be discipled better there than she would be in an arranged environment. And so then I started actually going on this journey and realizing entertainment, there's no shame. It is honorable to want to have people over and throw an epic birthday party. That is so much fun. There's a space for that. But hospitality, all entertainment is hospitality, but not all hospitality is entertainment. Gospel hospitality is having people just be a part of your life, period. Maybe it's they're on an errand with you. That's being hospitable. Maybe they come into your home and you ask them to help you dry the dishes like we were talking about. That's being hospitable too. So I just don't want people to feel so disqualified from sharing their lives with people because they have misunderstood that all hospitality is entertainment when just it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so freeing because, I mean, I'm a newly married wife and it is so hard because you want to make sure that everything is perfect, especially for like his friends or his family or even new friends that you guys are making yourselves. And it's so insane the amount of times that we will discredit ourselves and we will cut off a divine appointment because we care so much about our own selves. And so I was getting chills as you were talking about this young girl. So did she end up coming over?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Caroline with the brown hair to my boys. Like she comes over and just hangs out, and now she helps me make dinner, and she's kind of moved into like a really special place in our lives where she helps and she's a part of our rhythms and we love it. Wow. And that wouldn't have happened had I not just been like, okay, well, hop on in. Like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I have to ask myself the question at the end of the day, am I trying to love someone or am I trying to impress somebody? Wow. And rarely ever is it both. And I don't want to be impressive. I want to be loving. We never were asked to be impressive. The Lord never wants us to be impressive. He does that. He will impress people. He's just asking us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Wow. So that to me looks like, okay, come over to my home, whether it's cute and I have on the instrumental music and the candle lit, or if my boys are running around with their diapers on. Like, I want you just to be with me.
Yeah.
So my job is not to impress you. It's just to love you.
That is incredibly powerful. And I think like on the other side of that, when you're a guest, sometimes it's so, again, also freeing because you're like, oh my gosh, this person is just like me. And so then I bet that helped Caroline actually kind of loosen up and be able to be so honest with you and feel like this is a really safe environment. And so
this is a safe place.
Yeah, this is a safe place. She's a safe person. I can be real and raw because she's been real and raw with me. So like sometimes the Lord is just asking us to like set that example. And I think it's incredible, like how when you said yes to the Lord, when you listened to that discernment in the Holy Spirit, how he not only changed Caroline's life, but he changed your life. That's so, so powerful. Totally. You know, as we close, is there something that you could leave our audience with about, you know, maybe somebody who's like struggling to like their life, but really needs to love their life?
Put this on my grave. I know that's morbid, but this is how so for real I am about this. It is possible to nod to the hard things without bowing to them. And I think right now we are giving way too much credit to the hard things. I'm not asking you to be out of touch with reality or to pretend your situation is not what it is. That is a part of your story. It will become your testimony, and I can't wait to see what God does with it. However, the story does not end there. As believers, we have the hope of heaven. We know the end of the story. We know how God comes through at the end. So if anyone should be loving their lives this side of heaven, should it not be us? Like, I don't want us to give situations power. Yeah. That's not who needs and deserves the power, all the glory to God, because he's already conquered the cross. It was the joy set before him that allowed him to build a bridge so we can have a relationship with him. And I think so many of us miss it because we're not bowing to him, we're bowing to our circumstances. Yeah. But you can nod to them, just don't bow to them.
I'm like beaming over here because I'm like, yes. It's something that we all need to be reminded of. So I don't know where you're at, but man, I hope you take that. You can nod to them, but do not bow to them. Rachel, it has been such an incredible pleasure to just have you on today, to learn from you. You're so fun and you're so wise. And where can our audience get connected with you?
You're so kind. I love being online. It gets a bad rap, but I'm here to bring some light.
Yes.
So you can join me on Instagram. That's the biggest platform I'm on. It's rachel.awtrey, or you can head over to rachelawtrey.com. You can grab the book, Love Your Life, even when you don't like it all the time, wherever books are sold. And it's so much fun to be online, and it's been an honor to join you too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for listening on Live Today Live. We pray that you find joy today and you choose joy today. We'll see you next time. Love you guys.
He has given us the will to choose to come, to choose to bend our necks, to choose to bend our neck, and to choose to learn.